One of the most dangerous manipulation tactics doesn't start with threats. It starts with a smile. Imagine meeting someone who seems perfect. They agree with you, support you, make you feel understood in ways nobody else ever has. At first, it feels rare. Then, without realizing it, you begin trusting them faster than you should. And that's where manipulation usually begins. Not with control, with comfort. The first tactic is called mirroring. Manipulators carefully reflect your opinions, interests, and even your emotions. The goal isn't connection. It's familiarity. Because people trust people who seem like themselves. You think you found someone who understands you. In reality, they may just be studying you. The second tactic is subtle guilt. A friend says, "After everything I've done for you." A partner says, "I guess I'm just not important to you." Notice what's happening. They never directly ask for what they want. Instead, they make you feel responsible for their emotions. And once guilt enters the conversation, your decisions stop feeling like choices. They become obligations. The third tactic is selective attention. One day they're warm. The next day they're distant. No explanation. No warning. Suddenly, you're working harder for the same approval that used to come freely. This creates a psychological trap. Your brain becomes focused on winning back their attention. And the more unpredictable they become, the harder it is to walk away. What's unsettling is that these are only the surface-level tactics. There are deeper, psychological patterns behind. Manipulation that most people never recognize until they are already affected by them. That's why I put together a free, dark psychology guide that breaks down these hidden behaviors in more detail. If you're curious about the psychology behind influence, persuasion, and manipulation, you'll find a useful link in video description. Now, let's move to a tactic that's far more dangerous: gaslighting. This is where manipulation stops being subtle. A person lies. You confront them. They deny it. Then they question your memory. Over time, you stop trusting your own judgment. You begin double-checking things you were once certain about. Because people who doubt themselves become easier to control. And that's what every manipulation tactic ultimately leads to: control. The uncomfortable truth is that manipulation rarely looks dangerous when it begins. In fact, it often feels good. That's why awareness matters. Because the moment you recognize these patterns, they start losing their power. And once you see them, you can't ignore them. The most dangerous manipulators don't make you trust them. They make you trust the future they promise. Imagine someone constantly talking about what comes next. The business they'll build with you. The relationship you'll have. The opportunities waiting just around the corner. Everything sounds exciting. Everything sounds possible. And that's exactly why you stop paying attention to what's happening right now. Because while you're focused on the future, they're benefiting from the present. The fifth tactic is future faking. Manipulators sell a vision before they've earned trust. They know hope can keep people invested long after the evidence says they should leave. The sixth tactic is triangulation. At first, it sounds harmless. A coworker says, "Everyone agrees with me." A partner says, "Even my friends think you're overreacting." Suddenly, you're not arguing with one person anymore. You're arguing with people who aren't even there. The goal isn't truth. It's isolation. Because isolated people are easier to influence. And social pressure is often stronger than direct pressure. The seventh tactic is intermittent reinforcement. This is where manipulation becomes addictive. One day they praise you. The next they ignore you. One moment they care. The next they disappear. Nothing stays consistent. And that's exactly why it works. Your brain starts chasing the good moments. You replay conversations. You search for answers. You try to earn back what suddenly vanished. Without realizing it, you become attached to unpredictability. What's disturbing is that these aren't random behaviors. They're psychological patterns that quietly shape relationships, workplaces, and friendships every day. There are deeper patterns behind these tactics that most people never notice until they are already caught in them. That's why I created a free dark psychology guide that breaks them down in more detail. If you're curious, you'll find it link in video description. Now let's move to the most dangerous tactic in this part: identity manipulation. Most manipulators control what you think. Masters control how you see yourself. They don't just tell you that you're wrong. They make you believe being wrong is who you are. Over time, you hear the same labels. Too sensitive, too emotional, too difficult, too selfish. And eventually those labels stop sounding like opinions. They start sounding like facts. And once your identity is influenced, your decisions become much easier to control. Because every manipulation tactic leads to the same destination. Control. Not your actions. Your perception. The truth is, manipulation rarely begins with fear. It begins with trust. Which is exactly why it's so difficult to recognize. But once you see the pattern, it starts losing its power. And once you understand how it works, you're much harder to manipulate. Isolation. One day, you notice something strange. You don't talk to certain friends anymore. You rarely call family. The people who once challenged your decisions have disappeared. Nobody forced you to cut them off. At least, that's how it feels. It happened one conversation at a time. One warning. One criticism. One doubt planted in your mind. Are they really good for you? Do they support you? Maybe they're jealous. And before you realize it, the only voice left is the manipulator's. That's the power of isolation. The goal isn't controlling your choices. It's removing the people who might question them. Because when your world becomes smaller, influence becomes stronger. Dependency creation. At first, it looks like support. Someone always helps, always advises, always has the answer. Need reassurance? They're there. Need guidance? They're there. Need approval? They're there. Until one day, you discover something uncomfortable. You no longer trust yourself without them. Your confidence has quietly been outsourced. And that's exactly what dependency creation does. It doesn't make you weaker overnight. It slowly convinces you that you can't function alone. The result isn't loyalty. It's reliance. And reliance can be controlled. Reality control. This is where manipulation reaches its highest level. Not because someone controls what you do, because they control the information you receive. They decide which facts matter, which conversations happen, which perspectives deserve attention. Over time, your understanding of reality becomes filtered through a single source. And when that happens, something dangerous occurs. You stop comparing ideas. You stop questioning assumptions. You stop noticing alternatives. The world becomes smaller, simpler, easier to predict, and easier for someone else to shape. What's unsettling is that these tactics rarely appear all at once. They arrive gradually, hidden inside relationships, friendships, workplaces, even communities. There are deeper psychological patterns behind these behaviors that most people never recognize until they are already affected by them. That's why I put together a free dark psychology guide that breaks these patterns down in more detail. If you're curious about influence, persuasion, and manipulation, you'll find it in the description. The uncomfortable truth is that master manipulators rarely win through force. Force creates resistance. The most effective ones create dependence. They shape perception. They narrow options. They influence how people see themselves and the world around them. And that's why manipulation is difficult to recognize. Because by the time it becomes obvious, the process has usually been happening for a long time. The good news? The moment you recognize the pattern, it starts losing its power. And once you understand how manipulation works, you become harder to influence.